Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another matchup beyond all reason where in this particular series, well this particular match rather, we're going to be taking a look at a game that went the distance on a map that is not particularly well known for long games. Yeah, indeed we're going to be looking at Forge, as some of you have no doubt recognized by those geothermals and Duracell crystals in the background there. We're going to be taking a look at what is possibly one of the fastest maps that is out there in the pool. It's very aggressive, there's loads of metal, the energy is high from multiple different sources, there's these geos which always turn the game into a very explosive back and forth bombing fight. It's not the one that usually goes the distance, so it certainly piqued my curiosity when this landed over in the Discord, because, well, I can't help but wonder what on earth happened that did lead us to where this game eventually goes. So strap in, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's get right into this here with our blue team Cortex leader, who's going to be spawning right up on the front line, and I always love to see that. It's going to be Dinosuchus indeed. At 29.59 open skill, showing us some good old gaming as we get underway with a Resbot first out the lab right here, and then followed very shortly thereafter by a Conbot. That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the Resbot going to be used to reclaim a bunch of energy from the crystals. The Conbot going to be very useful for grabbing mexes, building the base, or building those geothermals. You can effectively scale your energy economy just with grave robbers on this map. There's so many crystals with so much energy that you can essentially rely on them to get all the way up to like even the geothermals and stuff. And indeed, we will essentially start a build turret immediately. I love that play right here for the blue commander, because it's basically saying, yeah, I basically am planning never to come back to this base, right? This constructor might stay here, but the commander effectively not going to stick around for too much longer. Okay, cool stuff. Spawning on the other side of the map here as the red commander in a nearly identical build order, my goodness. Going for solar panels instead of wind turbines, but essentially, other than that, effectively the exact same build here. It's our red team leader, spawning very close to the geothermals so that we can get that construction turret within range right here of all of the geothermals. There we are. We'll, at the very least, be able to build 3 of those geothermals here with this construction turret as the commander goes ahead and steps forward. So one of the biggest hurdles to building these geos is, of course, the fact that they cost 13,000 energy. On most maps, that's prohibitively expensive, means you can't really put them together all too fast. On a map like this, though, where there's 13,000 energy just in crystals sitting around your base, you can certainly start to afford that really, really quick into a game. It means you don't have to worry about E-scaling all too hard. You just put down a geothermal every once in a while, and you're pretty much good. Cat Lordy moving forward here as well, the yellow commander for the red team. We also have Zydeco, the 26 open skill Canadian hero, moving onto the northern side here and going to be putting some pressure on with the commander. Good to see. Rocketbot's already out and running, so LLT's going to have a rough time. Oh, okay. There we go. Second D-gun does connect. And it looks like eventually, there we go, the LLT will fall here as well. Well, we could have gone for the con, though. Could have gone for the D-gun on the con right there. Zydeco probably saw it, but, well, the commander saw it, but I don't think Zydeco was looking at it at the exact moment. And a couple of grunts do manage to sneak through. Okay. Killing one of these 4.0 is obviously quite nice. These 4.0 metal extractors go all the way back to the base, so it's very, very valuable to kill any of these that you can because, well, 4 metal per second is quite nice. Not the end of the world here. In lore phase, the green commander here, dark green commander, stepping forward, D-guns down one of the LLTs. Takes some serious damage for it, though. About 67% damage or so, or pardon me, 37% damage or so. Little lower now, down to just 55% here. Cyan and yellow. Whoa, cyan. Pardon me. Cyan and yellow battling it out here on the front line. That's the benefit of this rotatable camera, as I can switch it up on the perspective right here, but also we don't get trapped in the giant, beautiful caldera that is in the middle of Forge here. Kind of lovely pot. I imagine you can make a giant soup in this bowl. Don't know what it'd taste like, but I bet it would be delicious. Dinosuchus lined up nicely here with Rainbow Unicorn. Going for a little bit of a Decurion push actually here. Are we just going straight to Decurions? No. Okay, we are mixing it up with the comp. Not a bad idea. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pure Decurion play on this map because there's so much metal, especially with those Legion mexes. If you get those overcharge mexes on these mexes, you're going to be pulling 8 metal per second for every one of these metal extractors. Yeah, we do have them planned up eventually here. The issue is, can you get those up and running fast enough to beat T2? And on a map like this, it is very hard. T2 comes out super, super quick, especially with these geothermals and all the E-converters and everything. T2 will come online really fast here, as we will certainly see. DeBoss, our red team leader. Did we meet our red team leader? I think we did. I might have got sidetracked. DeBoss, the 35 open skill red team leader. Huh. So far, looking like a fairly standard game. We have a little, a cheeky constructor dropped over on this side of the map. Going to be setting up some anti-air built up over here. Is that the I think the transport went down right there. But yeah, the anti-air turret's going to come up at the very least. Build turret can come up right after that. Fighters will be evacuated so that they're not being wasted over here. Not the end of the world. At least we've scouted it, right? But the base is coming up. We need to properly deal with this. And right now, the Orange Commander is sending a bunch of forces elsewhere. Are we planning maybe... Oh, okay, we might have a bombing run queued up here, as we do have a couple of these Martyr. Built in the backline here, the Legion suicide drones. Meant to drop out of the skies onto the enemy with their beautiful little... Looks like a condensed matter projectile. Might be in... Yeah, it looks like a plasma charge built in there. Not bad. Well, there are signs of a grave robbing. It would appear that the Pink Commander has fallen. Completely missed the Pink Commander dying, but obviously in the pool of lava rests the tombstone of our Pink Hero, and all that metal going back here to the blue team. Might have been D-gun there by the red team, because actually it's not that big of a metal advantage. We have the T2 lab starting up right here, but honestly feels like a very greedy T2 lab. On the front line to boot, and then of course also... I mean, we don't even have the metal for it. We're on 14 metal per second. We must be hoping that the team works here. This is a risky play. Fighter 494 going for that laboratory on the other side here. We do have the bot lab up and running. We're going to be going for a twin guard as well. And continually working on increasing the surrounding defenses over here. Radar tower coming up. All kinds of stuff. Southern side for the time being looking quite good as well. Jean Pied. Or Pied. Jean-Pierre. The lime green commander right here. Going to be pushing forward using some of those shell shockers and also the reinforcements of the lances as long-range skirmishers. Actually working really nicely right here because the lances have tons and tons of vision range, similar to the missile trucks. But then, of course, the shell shockers have tons of firing range but are effectively blind. Yeah, this is great. These lances can put on a ton of pressure.
Destroyed.
It's fast. Where's that commander death? Oh. I see. I saw the explosion on the, or the end of that explosion on the map right here. It looks like the Orange Commander gave their all in order to shut this down.
Commander
okay.
Destroyed.
That's the Yellow Commander going down right here as the Cyan Army pushes forward. Accidentally stepping into that lava will cost you a lot of HP. Oh, 3 of those ballista go down. Just wait for it. There we go. 3 of those ballista do go down right here. Satyr pushing in. Okay. Now the pressure is on. The geothermals are up. The T2 is out. We need to respond to this quickly and get these mechs upgraded to T2. An excellent breach right here by the Cyan Commander, but unfortunately I think we're probably just going to be losing a bunch of metal in this trade. Yeah, a bunch of reinforcements coming across the field right here. Switch up the camera angle so we can watch all these units walk through the lava. Oh, good catch. Okay. 1 goblin goes down. Not the end of the world. We do desperately need to see some units on the field, though. We have the... Looks like Sheldon have been built and sent on over in that section. That's the Seafoam Green... Or no, pardon me. That is the Tan Commander going down over on the left-hand side. Maybe it's the Brown Commander. No, it is the Brown Commander. Okay. Again, it's all the pressure that these lances put on, right? They're super, super difficult to deal with. They do a burst of damage, so it's not like you can counteract it with micro. Essentially, if they lock onto you, they're going to do a little bit of damage. Jean reclaiming... Yeah, the entire commander's worth here. Nicely done. Cerberus Cannon coming up and running. Love the teamwork right here from the blue team. We're going for game-winning plays right now. We have the gauntlet coming up here for the tank commander. I don't think it's going to be any contest for that geothermal plasma battery. Cerberus Cannon, super powerful move. Love that idea here for the blue team. The hero thug. The one thug that survived managed to take down a mech, it looks like, but will be stopped by the gunships and the grunts. Not bad. I love that play right here from Fighter 494. Effectively forcing the Orange Commander to use their commander defensively rather than being able to put it out on the front line. And it helps a ton. All of a sudden, Blacksmith and Inlor Face, both of which can just move forward with their cons. They can, or with their comms rather. They do have cons out here too, building construction turrets. Actually, creeping con turrets forward is kind of funny. Would love a restore command. At this point, this is well beyond our front line, so I wouldn't mind seeing that restored here. Sometimes you can use the lava as like a defensive measure, but in this case, don't think it's all too necessary. The geothermal Cerberus. Making very short work of this front line. Look at the range on this. The range is this circle right here. It is ginormous, yeah. There's nothing that you can do about it. The amputator outranged, the gauntlet is outranged. Well, neither of them can touch each other, but yeah, it's still very, very effective right here. It's one of those moments where it's really difficult to figure out what you can do about it. One of the options, of course, is just to double down on your tech. Try and go into T2 as quickly as you can. We will have a Cerberus coming up in the backline over here as well for the tank commander. Wouldn't mind seeing a big investment for that as well. But right now, looking very thin. Northern side is very vulnerable at the moment. It's on Dinosuchus at this point to put on some pressure, but we're holding the units in reserve. I think in the meantime, yeah, we must be upgrading those geothermals. We're going for the AGOs in the back here. They are expensive at 1,500 metal apiece, but for the 1,250 energy they produce, it's an insane energy to metal efficiency. I mean, it's almost 1-to-1 metal to efficiency wise. It's super, super efficient, as opposed to things like Aphis and Aphis E-converter and Fusion E-converter. Quite a bit less efficient, those two. Zydeco taking some serious damage, actually. Pounder tank doesn't really care. Yeah, it just shoots in an area and does a big effect. The Hot Pink Commander falls here. Scorpion turret moments from completion, but it will not manage to come up and running. Yikes. That's a rough moment right there. Does the T2 Comm die as well? Or Con, rather. Well, looks like it'll live. The Fiend reinforcements will be enough. Clearing out the Resbot to deny the metal reclaim is huge.
Destroyed.
Another commander death over here. That's the swarm from the blue commander marching forward right here, abandoning their post at the LLTs here, knowing that the Cerberus has got it, and go ahead and get the commander kill on the southern side. Action-packed up, down, left, and right on this map. Hard to follow at some points here. You can tell the red team is on the back foot, though. They're definitely looking to pork up here and hope that they can claw out of this with a little bit of tech. Maybe a killer strike from a bombing run or a nuclear missile, things like that. Those comeback mechanics, right, that pull you back into really desperate situations or pull you out of desperate situations. The red commander actually not even with a laboratory anymore, just going straight eco. We have build turrets built around the AGOs. I mean, it's about as risky as it gets, but we're risking it for the biscuit. The idea here is, of course, to just dump all the metal into economy and hope that we can rush it out faster than our opponent is willing to push in. It can work. It's a very greedy strategy, and basically any amount of unit production right now would kill it. But that's not what the blue commander is going for either. Oh, we do have shields coming up. Okay. I like that. I mean, we're being preemptive here, building the shield so that LRPCs and the like can't pop these, but it is important, and obviously one shield here doesn't do much against the fact that these geothermals will certainly chain react into each other. I think either in the middle or maybe 2 shields is really necessary in order to completely protect yourself. Which is a huge expense, by the way. These shields cost so much metal, 3,000 metal, but then also about 1,000 energy per second. Pardon me, 563 energy per second while they're recharging. It's a huge energy expenditure. For the players with the AGOs, energy is essentially as free as it gets, but for anybody else, those can be incredibly taxing to build. Scorpion turrets are fine. The pesky little drones right here providing a lot of vision. Once the Cerberus comes up and running, it'll be pretty impossible to stop this. Still 30 seconds or so away, so there's time to push. It's been scouted by these drones, certainly, so the Cyan hero Gary the Blind does ironically have vision of this area. Sees the Sheldon bolts, sees the Cerberus, sees the Scorpion turrets. Has perfect scouting info, but just doesn't really have a unit to deal with it. We do have the Thanatos out now. Thanatos are super nice here. They could be the decision maker. We're targeting the construction squad here, which is cool. Very close call. 99. Oh, the Cerberus just barely does come up. Okay, huge. Huge moment right there for the yellow commander. Obviously just a single building, but the fact that that Cerberus cannon came up and running means that all of a sudden this southern side is way, way more secure. We could even chain this into another Cerberus over here, and I wouldn't even mind it. Again, those Cerberus are so powerful. They do so much damage. Stupid damage, even against T3 units. Really wouldn't mind seeing it. The T1 are old-fashioned. We need to start eating these up and turning them either into T2, or at the very least upgrading these T2 mexes. We do have some of them upgraded here, but we really need all of them. The Rampart being built, the geothermal, anti-radar, anti-nuke drone platform. A static defense with many hats. Arbiter's now up and running. Okay. Yeah. The Cerberus only the catalyst here to turn the tides of this northern section. Bunch of lasers firing away. Looking real crazy on the map like a bunch of laser beams, but it is the targeting system there for these Medusa as they blast away at whatever they can. A ultra-heavy, long-distance siege tank. Very, very effective against heavy single targets. When they're accurate. Oh, look at that. I think they lost targeting, and that was just accidental, but all their missiles went directly into the Persecutor. These don't have the range for that, right? Yeah, there's no way. Oh, how odd. I think that must have just been really good luck for the Purple Commander and terrible luck for Pig Pie, who, yeah, lost the pop-up turret simply because these missiles unlocked. And they went after whatever they wanted to. Okay. Geothermal Cerberus is up and running here for the Tank Commander as well. You can see that wherever the Cerberus are is really where the map is stabilized. Where there's basically no pressure coming out here. T3 up and running, by the way, for the Blue Commander. We do have those Shiva marching out of the laboratory. We have, you know what? The shield does just barely cover. Oh, no, never mind. There is one AGO exposed. Yeah, a clear weak point, right? If you're looking at this with bombers, there's one target that looks quite a bit more vulnerable here. Karganeth up and over. The Caldera will manage to blast away at least the Scorpion turret. There's a bunch of T1 static defenses here too they could try and go after, but frankly, why sit under the barrage of that Cerberus when instead you could just move towards the base? Overlapping fields of fire here though, as these Cerberus are pelting these quite badly, and like I said before, they really can do some serious damage, even against T3. What's he doing? What is that? Like 8% almost? 7 or 8%? Against those Karganeth per shot. Okay. Solid defense from the Red Commander, who has greeted like a madman. Absolute mad lad, going all the way up to double APHIS here before starting up that T3 production. We do now have Karganeths rolling out of the field. What will be our direct counter? Blue Commander, instead of dumping all the metal and energy into shields and static defenses, the Red Commander, rather than doing that, has gone into an APHIS. I bet, in fact, if we look at all this, it's probably about exactly the cost of an APHIS. Not you, sorry. Yeah, 9,900 versus the 9,700 of the APHIS here. So, adds up pretty quick, doesn't it? And obviously, having those extra APHIS means you can make more APHIS quite a bit quicker as well. It is all exponential. The only caveat here being that the Red Commander is extremely wanted for space. Neither team going for those long-range, ultra-long-range harassment options, though. No LRPCs, no Astreus from the Legion factories. We do have the Legion factories out here, and yeah, I feel like putting an Astreus on the field would be super useful. You could park the Astreus in the middle of this map and hit most of the backline, I think, over here. At the very least, you could pop this geothermal, and we wouldn't have to move it too much further to hit one of these geothermals. They have almost the range of an LRPC, the Astreus. Okay. We've settled into a somewhat stable front line here. Red Commander looking to shake things up. We'll go ahead and flip the camera 180 as we take a look at this southern engagement. Northern engagement, pardon me. Directions are made up anyway. Well, the Myrmidons go down quickly here. Commander pops just as fast. The Karganeth in the hills, finding a huge value in targets. Beautiful stuff right there. Because they're all up on the hills, too, they can fire over each other, meaning all of them can fire effectively both of their barrels. Wow, double kill for these Karganeth here. Well, what a beautiful push. I miss my father. Having a moment in chat. Geothermal, the rampart, huh? What happened there? It just, like, discombobulated. It turned into atoms and fine mist. Pretty sure those are supposed to be quite explosive. Not sure what happened there, but anyways, the Karganeth's still pushing forward. And one of the nice things about Karganeth, they don't really care about shields at all. Yeah, they're not one of those units that really benefits from, or rather is hindered by shields. They can pretty much take care of themselves. No matter what situation you put them in. I love this from the Red Commander, too. Supporting both lanes at the same time. We've got the static defenses built up over here, and then, of course, we've got the Karganeths pushing on the hillside on the northern side here, distributing the weight of this tremendous economy we've got built up right here across both of the lanes is super powerful. Huh. I haven't seen greed like this in ages, but I'm starting to understand why this game went, you know, to the ultra late game, if we're going to be going for 5 Aphis front. Just for, like, some measure of reference right here, right? We've got, like, fusion reactor level economies in the backline here for all these other commanders. And then we've got the Red Commander with 15 times the economy. Pretty impressive, I will say. Those missiles coming out of the trucks right here, the ambassadors firing away their stealthy missiles towards the enemy, targeting whatever they can, anything valuable. Not connecting often, but whenever they do hit something valuable. Another structure that would find immense value on this map would be the Juno, of course. All these choke points make for ideal Juno targets, as if you take out the enemy's radar and their anti-radar, it becomes quite easy to fight them. Thanatos incorporated into the mix here as well. We have loads of Shiva available, so these are, well, at the very least, the Shiva are going to be doing a great job of defending. But, of course, as soon as there's enough of them, they can also go across the map here. Scorpion turret set up, as well as the commander in a strategic position. Yeah, this is what a high-level forge looks like. You have to guard against this caldera, the Great Volcano Bull. Cerberus trying to hold on, or Chimera rather, trying to hold on. Here's shurikens. Oh, look at that. Shurikens trying to paralyze tanks. Actually doing a great job. Yeah, paralyzing the tanks in range of the static defenses is lovely. All of a sudden, the LRPCs and whatnot, or the MRPCs, can fire away into the distance. They can chip away at these. Shurikens, of course, providing the vision needed in order to do that, and then the paralyzation keeping them in place. A brilliant little trap right here for the Red Commander. Shiva, however, have begun. Their grand march has begun, and there's not a lot that the Red Commander has to stop this. Spamming out Shiva as fast as possible. Do we know about this base over here? We're smelling it. Yeah, I think our blue hero has smelt that there's something powerful over here. Sees the laboratory. Will we see the Aphis? Oh, there's the first two. A third. A fifth and a sixth. Oh, the Shiva go down before their missiles can connect against the Agio. Obviously the prime target, but they had a lot of trouble breaking through right there. Okay. A very close call for the Red Commander, but frankly speaking, that's exactly how you get ahead in this game, is you gotta risk it on some kind of strategy. And in this case, it was building as little as possible until the absolute very last second, and then eventually spamming out units to clean up the enemy's attack wave right here. And well, there we go. A dozen or so dead Juggernauts. We have Resbots coming up to pick some of those up as well, try and get those back in the fight for a little bit of a discount on the energy cost of them. That looks like a missile launcher. That absolutely looks like a Legion missile launcher. There it is. Yeah, we got the Legion long-range napalm launcher, hucking a ball of hot plasma towards the enemy side of the field. Napalm, technically, but I like to imagine it's like a long-duration plasma effect. Bearing that it can melt apart steel tanks, or whatever these happen to be made out of. Something durable, I imagine. Really a disturbing lack of air, if anything. Feels like both of these teams really haven't really been utilizing air at all. Why are we going for a second one? Well, that is confusing. Okay, yeah, so we've got... Right, our 15 open skill hero here has gone for a second T2 air lab. Well, we can't even produce out of the first one. I mean, we have the metal. We just need more build power. Okay. Opting to go for another laboratory rather than another constructor, another batch of constructors here. Very odd. Bastion sweeping away any of the chaff on the front here. Aphis stack immediately exploding as the blue commander realizes that they're far, far behind on the Aphis growth. We have the shields up and running now to go and try and defend against any kind of LRPC attack or something like that. Shiva's being reapplied. The entire northern side, now in the hands of the red commander. We've got the Shivas trying to march forward all over the place. The drones and fighters and all sorts of other nonsense being shot down out of the skies. Love the inclusion of the anti-air here, just to make sure that we can shoot down any of these air forces. But also very nice that the drones are drawing in the fighters, right? Keeping those fighters out of the skies and, more importantly, on the ground. Oh. Well, now, there is a strategy. It appears that what we will be doing here is dropping constructors on the high ground to build a catalyst. Okay. We're getting into the realm of very experimental strategies here. We're going to be dropping catalysts, or planting catalysts, up on the high ground and then dropping constructors. Can we build, like, construction turrets? Kind of. There's vaguely places where you could put one. Yeah, you can put one here, put one here. Extra 200 or 300 build power, 400 build power. Will be enough to stop the red menace. Those missiles do ignore shields. They are the penultimate weapon. Long range, high damage. Can't be shot down by anything. Inlore phase needs to get out there and start degunning. Little too late, I'm afraid. Shiva's already launching their missiles. Laboratory does fall. Northern side looking like it's in a lot of trouble all of a sudden. Did I hear a Daedalus? Oh, I did. Yeah, okay. So Daedalus is up and running too, with its long-range Gauss cannons, can fire away quite effectively.
Commander has died.
There goes our green hero. Karganeth moving in this direction to defend. They will eventually shut this push down. However, not before the base of the Green Commander is lost. Well, you know what? It was only the T2 laboratory. We still have the economy growing in the background here. It's not like we couldn't rebuild from this point. It's just a little bit awkward. Shurikens. Oh, looks like this was shut down. Yeah, it looks like bombers were sent to shut this down. Nice catch with the Shurikens there. Detecting this and shutting it down. Very important. Maybe a jammer would have been wise. Okay. Bombers accidentally killing Shuriken. Not something I think I've ever seen before. Long-range missile launchers are great. Shooting the bombers out of the sky before they ever even have a chance to make it to the base. Requesting carries. The heavy tanks here. All constructors have a feature in their build menu for restore. That's how you restore terrain in the map to its normal height. Saves you the grief of walking through lava all the time. We'll be going for any more eco expansion. The Red Commander with just a bizarrely gigantic economy here. We have the T2 cons coming up. What are we going to use them for? Oh yeah, okay, so we do have plans for a greater economy. Whenever you see a queue of 4 build turrets in a row like this, you just know it's about to scale into 30 Aphises and 100 E-converters. All geared towards full-scale production. Aphis count climbing here for the Blue Commander as well, but just at a slightly slower rate. Neither one of these teams really finding much purchase against each other. HD gets there from Fighter 494.
Commander destroyed.
Now the Daedalus is pretty good. It recently got a, I won't say a nerf, it got a rework, I guess is the right word for it. Fires a 3-round burst of heavy projectiles, no longer has its little machine guns. I think it just has the siege rail accelerator. But it does a ridiculous amount of damage. Against anything short of T3, it's devastating. And against T3, it's still devastating. Just won't kill it instantly. Nice push on this side, though. Red Commander manages to sweep a couple of T3 Shiva, even some Kargneth. A Kargneth here for the yellow hero. Cat Lordy saying they get to participate in this push right here. And the Grunts also walking forward as well, just to mostly scout everything, make sure there's no commanders in the way. Commander already died over on this side, though, so we're pretty much clear on there. Shiva now marching in through the southern opening on the northern side. Fusion stacks growing. LRPCs and Myrmidons firing into the distance. Just whittling down these forces slowly but surely. Myrmidon are all-terrain. They can climb up over this hill here and start raining siege on anything over in this area. Important and well worth noting because, well, there's some valuable targets over there. It's another one of those catalysts that just went down. Or not catalyst, pardon me. The T2 Legion Agio. Rampart, that's what it's called. Razorbacks eventually cleaning all this up here. As it looks like our powder blue commander has gone ahead and gone into some T3 units. We have the Razors cleaning up the Shiva. And I think eventually all of this will be resurrected or reclaimed, which is quite nice. We have the Resbots out and available. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, run for your lives. The Resbot forced to flee as the Shiva is now set to. We're going to attack command the base. We're trying to destroy the fusion so it cannot be resurrected. It'll be blasted down, though, so luckily here for our Seafoam Green Hero, Fighter 494, we can at the very least resurrect and try and stay in this game. Myrmidon numbers are growing. We're up to 5 at this point, and I think, yeah, we have a 6th on the way. This was talking about that mega eco right here, as we do have now Aphises scaling upwards, E-converters scaling outwards, dumping thousands of metal per second into the economy, meanwhile still producing air forces, ground forces, and the best quality of both. Surprisingly few T3 on the field here from anyone else. Feels like this entire game has been watching the red commander go up against the blue commander. a lot of uniform coloring between these two teams here. Oh, there's the Astraeus. Yep, there it is. Look at the range on this thing. Even in the backline, it can already reach... Oh my goodness, it can already reach this base over here. I was way off. Sitting at the midline, it could certainly reach all the way into the backline. The range on the Myrmidon, or on the Astraeus rather, is just insane. E-ray drones providing all the vision that's needed in order for the Myrmidon to work. I really do like the inclusion of the Astraeus, though. I think folding 1 or 2 of those into the composition whenever you have a moment, it lends you a huge spike in burst damage. And you can reach out ever so slightly further, just usually long enough to hit those critical soft spots like the build towers, the E-converters. Things that pop and chain react and cause big, unhappy things to happen to the enemy. Resbots. Prioritizing the metal extractors and the fusion right here. The laboratory will come up eventually as well. Loads of static defenses. Tons of anti-air here for the orange commander. Not willing to risk it. We've got mass unit production, though. I will say, our blue hero has produced way more units right here than our red. Red has, of course, obviously been spending a lot more eco in the backline, preparing for a much grander scale of war. At this point up to 460 metal per second, and rapidly climbing. Myrmidon's thinking of moving forward, but I really think you want to go for at least one Soul Invictus before you actually try and move those Myrmidon out. You really want something to support with their long-range fire. You don't want to use them as a direct fire or a skirmishing type of unit. Get in there and enjoy those character models, though. One of those beautiful Legion character models that just is spectacular to look at. They've got the armament stripped straight out of one of their eviscerator cannons. And, of course, they've got those drone platforms upgraded to support the Legion Helios drones. Light anti-air equipped as well, just for funsies. They've got a nice little, like, radio antenna thing on the side of their head, too. I love nice little aesthetic additions like that. Things that, you know, scream that this unit was designed with a purpose in mind, right? This was built by an intelligent creator. Not just someone randomly throwing things together. Cortex. You can tell, right? The Juggernaut is 80% hydraulics, 10% nuclear bomb, and 10% shotguns. It's got so many shotguns, it's got shotguns on its elbow for some reason. I never really could figure out why this has shotguns on its elbow. One of those weird things about the Juggernaut that I never really bothered to learn. Looking quite good, though, as it steps towards the, well, forward into the front line here. We have, yeah, a bunch of demons. We'll cook the Juggernaut down in a moment, or a matter of moments. Still, I wouldn't mind a little bit more aggression from the blue commander. Always difficult, right? When you're playing across this much of the map, this giant of a surface, it's difficult to feel confident that any one spot you put any pressure on isn't just a waste of metal. But 5 or so of these demons moving on the northern side, I mean, there's practically nothing that can stop you. A couple of static defenses here, but frankly, I mean, a couple of Persecutor turrets and a Scorpion turret, 2 bulwarks. Not enough to stop those demons, they're just too fast. Nice Aphis stack coming up here for the Lime Green Commander, actually, getting into that late game spirit, as we do see, yeah, it's just a sizable, relatively sustainable economy coming up. More and more build power, helping to power out those units as well, of course. Ah, okay, there we go. We have some resurrected and newly produced demons now out on the field to support the Juggernaut. Okay. Suddenly, this does begin to look a little bit more scary. This Juggernaut not really here to mess around anymore. It means business. Look at those demons lighting it up, though. More than 1% per second, probably closer to 2% per second melted off of that thing. And they weren't even really all firing. Boom goes the Juggernaut. Okay. Man, are demons OP? Metal to damage ratio is off the charts for the demon. In a good way. They have a huge damage potential. Resbot's eating up a whole bunch of this. Terrain has been partially restored as well, which is always cool to see. Yeah, you know what? Anti-air's pretty good. Oh, look at those AA turrets. Oh, that's pretty nice. Yeah, the bombers weren't directly underneath the fighters, or vice versa. Oh, wow. No way. Every single bomber shot out of the air by the Legion anti-air turrets. My goodness, the Pluto. The anti-air minigun. What a brutal beast of war that is. We have got reinforcements building in the air, trying to build in the air. Loads of fighters. No more bombers. Again, the blue team hasn't really even attempted anything out of the air. has been very casual about building an air force here. I guess the ground defenses were convincing enough. Not really any anti-air built up over here. Very easy for us to look at this from spectator view and say, yeah, this really... There's a lot of vulnerabilities here, but you gotta remember that it's very difficult to make that call when you're actually playing in the game. Aphis stack still growing right here. A very interesting kind of Tetris piece-shaped layout here for this eco, but I guess I don't mind it. Building big swaths of build turrets, always very chain reactable, worries me ever so slightly, but it's also in a very strange location over here, so it's not like it's going to get targeted specifically or randomly. Still, though, it is quite vulnerable. I mean, ultimately, what's defending this lane is a bunch of T2. A minuscule amount of T2, actually. We've got a few brown forces here. The threat of Shiva eventually, but anything fast enough to get past them is going to do some damage. Orange economy. Growing as well. We're going to go ahead and speed things up. The return of the king. Parking the daedalus. No, pardon me. The carries underneath the long-range cannons here. Thor will be sent to its death as well for some reason. What are we targeting there? Not entirely sure what the targeting there was for. Looks like we're trying to hit some of these demons, but have not managed to quite yet, anyways. Targeting the bulwarks is a good idea. Taking out their pulsar beams can be very, very useful. Catapults in the backline firing away as well. Consistent, heavy damage. One of those stores resurrected almost immediately. We've graduated, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone from the meager Shiva to the all-powerful Behemoth. Actually cheaper than a Juggernaut. The Behemoth at only 20,000 metal. 500,000 energy. Virtually unstoppable. Essentially unkillable. Mostly unfightable. A fight against a Behemoth essentially feels like fighting a concrete wall with your bare hands. Look at the eco. The greed. The absolute greed on I Miss My Father. Taking it out on the economy here by just building about 250,000 E-converters, several thousand Aphises here. The orange economy now up to thousands of metal per second. What on earth are we going to spend it on? Look at all these shields. What are all the shields for? I guess it's just to deflect, like, plasma, I guess? Yeah. I mean, any plasma that comes by, it might be deflected, but all of this is chain reactable. I mean, all the build power chain reacts into itself, the E-converters chain react into themselves. Pretty sure this entire base goes pop if anything gets touched, even slightly grazed by any kind of LRPC fire. But we don't have any LRPC fire, and that is the critical fall of this game. Speaking of critical falls, the Starfall. Absolutely and unquestionably my favorite turret in the game. The most OP of the LOL cannons, the Starfall, firing a giant barrage high into the air and down onto unsuspecting targets, and this one happens to be well within range of, yeah, everybody. Red base, pink base, maroon base, pink base, orange base, yellow base, red base again, red base a third time. LRPC's firing away. Ooh, yeah, okay, we got shielding. Luckily, we got that shielding. Should be enough to hold off against these Starfalls here. Behemoths, by the way. Not doing all too much, but at the very least, they do work as a good anti-air for some reason. Give me when you're done. Or, hear me out here. Teamwork. The fun thing about the Starfall is that it takes 360,000 energy to fire. Yeah, 360,000 energy per volley. It means that you have to have tons of E-storages. Ooh, that's the red base. Or, that's not red. Brightworks is colorblind confirmed. Green base here. Jean's base. A lot of trouble. That's a lot of LRPCs. Enough LRPCs to punch through shielding like that is pretty impressive. Yeah, we've gone all the way up to 12 LRPCs at this point. We have the catalyst here as well. Can this hit all the way over there? No, not quite. It has good range, but not quite that far of range. Moments from completion, though. Fighters in Tyrannus moving on the northern side. Ooh, it's all boiled down. Starfall is away. First volley is up in the air. This is a tragic moment for the red team. This volley looks to be headed directly towards the red base. Ooh, any of those AGOs pop and it's over. Oh, how fortunate. The AGOs barely managed to escape. The back shield was just barely enough to glance off all those projectiles. Oh, commando drops. Okay. Well, there's a strategy we haven't seen very often, but commando drops now landing in the base. Okay. Boom go the E-converters. Oh, the geothermal. Wow, I can't believe that shield is holding up right here. It's this single shield in the backline. Tyrannus, meanwhile, oh, actually being shot down quite nicely. Who knew that gunships were actually the counter to the Tyrannus? Alright. Didn't expect those to be as effective as they are. The next volley. Ooh. Getting very, very close here. Does it ultimately matter with the red forces moving in? I don't think so. Green forces. God, why do I keep saying that? Okay. Brightworks actually is colorblind. Confirmed. I was joking before, but I guess I can't really anymore. The Behemoth mating ritual. Hot plasma all over each other. Yeah, that's the Aphis stack. Sol Invictus. I mean, it feels kind of wrong for the Sol Invictus to be here. This feels like it's like a, you know, this is a one-on-one essentially. This is like my homies versus your homies in a battle. The Invictus is the cops like standing off to the side just watching. Beautiful plays right there. The entire backline in shambles right here. Sol Invictus marching forward. This guy responsible for 118 kills. Starfall continuing to target bases. Oh, very close right there. 10% HP left on the base. Nukes are away though. Oh, do we have enough oh, we have way more than enough anti-nukes. Okay. The blue commander, a cautious one. Dinosuchus does have the anti-nukes to save themselves. And at the very least, well, it's a beautiful chain reaction, too. As the orange base also goes up in smoke. Catapult's gonna fire away as soon as they get within range. And indeed, the blue team has managed to do it. Behemoths all over the place. Starfalls, calamities, tons of T3 units everywhere. But ultimately, it will be our blue heroes that actually manage to take the victory. Despite being behind in the economic lead, they do eventually pull ahead with the tech and the unit advantage and manage to scrape together a win. What a beautiful game of Beyond All Reason. Thanks a ton for watching. If you made it this far into the match, I sure appreciate it. If you could leave a like and subscribe down below, it does help the Brightworks grow, and of course, also helps Beyond All Reason get out there into the internet and propagate through the mental streams of everybody else out there, which is always good stuff, and I'm happy to see whenever it does happen. But I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I hope to see you again in the very next cast of Beyond All Reason.